Yes, it's true. You can be addicted to stress. So, how come? Well, stress in and of itself, as you know, is meant to just warn us about an oncoming threat, an oncoming danger. And in order to do that, it's really got to get our attention. So it floods our body with cortisol and other things, which take our attention to a heightened state. We fix on something, we're watchful, we're noticing. And the other chemical that gets pushed into the body is something called dopamine. And dopamine is responsible for motivation and driving something on. And it also has a part to play in the body's natural sense of reward seeking, like you feel good when you get that hit of dopamine. So when we look at cortisol, which zhuzhes everything up, makes it feel really intense, makes us focus, and we think of the pleasure, the reward system that dopamine gives us, it kind of works not quite in tandem, but works with cortisol. We can begin to see how that for some people is going to be quite a good feeling. Now, why would somebody avoid stressful situations? Why would some people avoid the drama and other people seek it? Well, a lot of that is to do with what happened when you were little. If you grew up in a household that was always tense, if it was an unpredictable household, if there was a lot of shouting, stress, a lot of drama involved, it can be that we just get used to that and it becomes a means of just feeling a sense of connection. So maybe you only got a sense of connection with your caregivers once something had been resolved. So there could be an argument flying around, and then one of them come and hug you or be nice to you or say, look, don't worry, it's okay, or whatever the situation is. It can be that really intense emotion can be a precursor to us feeling connected to somebody, connected to something. It can also make us feel really alive. I've talked earlier about that intensity that we can feel when there's a stressful or dramatic situation. So the problem with constantly seeking out that drama because it's familiar, because it makes us feel alive, because it might bring a sense of connection, even intimate connection, is that long term it causes a sense of real chaos in our heads, in our thinking, in our hearts. And it becomes hard to use our deeper wisdom, our deeper judgment. Now, should I be going into this situation? Should I just be retreating from this? So, for instance, if your boss, say you've got a bit of a bullying boss or a bit of a heavy-handed boss, and you always just confront them head on, then it might be that a different approach would work better. But it becomes hard if one is always seeking this drama, is always seeking the thrill, then it's really hard to sit back and think, actually, my guts are telling me something else. Or actually, do you know what? I'm going to walk away from this. I'm not going to go to that place that this person is bringing me into. Very often, if somebody is used to a particular set of circumstances, ways of behaving. So, for instance, if you're used to somebody being very shouty and you shouting back, or you going into fear and being submissive, if you're used to a particular type of pattern, it can be it pulls you in and it will draw you in time after time. And the first step is to recognize it. I've talked about this many times on my lives, and I talk about it a lot with my clients. The first step is to recognize the place that you're in and what you're being drawn into, and then ask yourself, could I deal with this any different? Sometimes, say for instance, in a relationship where you're not being treated that well, in a personal relationship where you're not being treated that well by a friend or an intimate partnership or a family friend, whatever. And you just keep putting up with that and stay in that situation. When you start to say, no, I'm not going to be drawn into that conversation. I'm not going to act in the same way because I can see what it does. Sorry, low power mode, low power mood. What happens is that it once we start to have this reference points, when we start to have this point where inside we say, I wonder if I could do this differently. I feel as though I'm always in this space. I feel as though I'm always finding myself feeling less than. I find that I'm always doing this. When you find yourself always in a situation, just take some time out sometime. Get yourself a cup of tea or coffee and just go for a walk or whatever you do and have a think about how you could do it differently, how you could stop being drawn in or seeking that space. Is it benefiting you? Is it bringing you what you really need to thrive long term? Could those emotional needs for that connectedness or that feeling alive be met in another healthier way? So the first step is just to recognize you're in it. And that second step is bringing in a conscious awareness of, is this feeding me? Is this really nurturing me, this behavior? Would I be better walking away? Would I be better doing it differently, doing something different? That's the second thing. And the third thing is just to look at how else you could get those needs met. And within that space, some of the exercises around polyvagal resets, about really learning how to reset your nervous system through breath exercises, through stretching, all of those things can be really, really useful. Anyway, hope that helps you, and I will see you in all the usual places.